So, you probably thought I was going to look over this one and stuff. I look over absolutely fucking nothing, okay? Just to make that clear. And, yeah. So, if you've been alive for more than 5 minutes, you know that most men don't know how to get or keep a good woman and stuff. Um, Maybe it's different in other countries, but in the United States, this is definitely true. Um, so, just my premise for this. Social skills come less naturally to men than they do women. So men often fall into the trap of physical activity that doesn't add to their personality. They will stick to a sport or something well past the point where they have understood it until their learning stops. Most men have no fucking clue when it comes to picking a girlfriend or wife, even if many men are very good at getting laid, and I know plenty of men get laid a lot. Getting laid is not nearly as much of an issue, and frankly, again, like I have said before, it is unwise to teach people this system. Yeah, it is. I'm not going to teach you how to uh, how to just have sex with as many women as possible or whatever or anything related to that thing. It's not responsible and stuff. um Men in the past have pursued this lifestyle with disastrous effects and stuff. A lot of you motherfuckers are some stupid retarded pigs and have no fucking shred of decency and stuff. And um yeah, so it's obviously you can't be trusted with this. So I won't be teaching that and stuff because then I'll just be the next moron who taught men this kind of freely or whatever, like publicly and stuff, and just started this whole bunch of stupidity. Um, you you Damn. So anyway, a good woman. What do I mean by a good woman? A good woman is not just a woman of high caliber and stuff. She has a really good personality and everything. She has education, and whatnot. But she can also just be the woman that a man personally desires most for every criteria of inner personality and outer appearance. Okay. Um, So it's because of the for one reason, it's because of the mass media program mindset and stuff. Mass media gives people false notions of what initiates and persists relationships. It creates false expectations and stuff because none of these people in these movies or TV shows have to work full-time jobs or deal with the cost of living or anything like that and stuff. Everything from Full House to Boy Meets World is a crock of shit and stuff. It doesn't even really teach you how to tell jokes to a woman because you know what? A lot of those jokes have a laugh track to just make you laugh, even though they're not really like, you know, compelling any sort of ironic reaction and stuff. Now, mind you, Full House has some great episodes, and Boy Meets World has amazing episodes. But like, you know, I'm just using them to segue this point and stuff that mass media is not a substitute is not actionable data that covers a problem surface. Okay. So yes, immature sex drive and stuff. Um, most men have inadequate libido. Okay, and they can't handle extremely high libidos and stuff. They don't know how to manage it, regulate it, and stuff. It just bleeds through. Okay, misogyny. Now, yeah, this is a problem. Most men are wrongfully intolerant to women with appearance issues and do not want to be polite, too. So there's that, um, which kind of which is kind of misogynistic, right? So because a lot of those appearance issues have to do with just womanhood and stuff. Every time she gains weight because of her period and stuff, or she's gassy because of her period or whatever, you know like yeah, there's many guys that just get turned off or whatever. Like, dude, this is a woman, you know. Like, what are you complaining about? You've got her. What are you talking about? You know, that's actually the perfect time to make her feel sexy. Anyway, um, this kind of body shaming thing that men do to women and stuff. You know, trying to call them bony or fat or flat or whatever. It, it's just helping misogynists and stuff. It's as good as misogyny. Okay. Um, uh, yeah, and they don't really want women to enjoy their company, you know. So they just end up with chicks that are just good for sex or short-term dating. So, you know, you thought you had something, but you didn't. You know why? Because you know, because guys, it's because you know you you make women just wait for you to be gone. Okay, you're not making her laugh and all that stuff. You know, you're not making her moan. You know, it's um all right, taking advantage of kindness. So many women will do anything to make a man happy, but men will abuse that to vent their cruel energy by treating her as a second class citizen. Okay, stuff. Now, a lot of men can't get or keep a good woman because when you find them and stuff, you just treat her like she's the putzfrau or whatever. It's like no and stuff. Like you you know she's doing the right thing and stuff. Do right by her. You know, not knowing how or when to listen. You know, knowing womanese goes a long way. The way women pay attention to communication and use words and communicate is generally different than men and stuff, okay? Insecurity. Women of caliber make men turn mean and those when those men do not have equal status, okay? Men, you're just going to have to admit that sometimes women are better than you, okay? When they're better than you, they're better than you and stuff. And either you learn from it and grow, but either way or not, either way, you know, this is not an excuse to um to do and say stupid things in interactions with women. You know, agreed. Some women need some degree of pampering depending on the type of woman. So, yeah. Now, this is the thing about the emotional connection and stuff. Women kind of thrive off of this and stuff. Their brain subconsciously also always checks if like she's in good standing with you and there's good relationship, you have a connection and everything and stuff. And without that connection, there's no LTR. Okay? You might even just get you might even lucky you might even be lucky to just get a few weeks with her, honestly. You know, it's not cool because when she's gone and then you realize that, oh shit, now the sex isn't nearly as good because I still love the girl that I screwed up with. You're in quite a rut, aren't you? You know, it's not a pretty picture. You know, um, yeah, keep that in mind. Oh, you know, a lot of men are attracted to bitchy women too, which keeps them away from good women and stuff. Okay, a lot of men like the bitchy women for the extra excitement during sex and stuff, that emotional intensity during sex and stuff. But it's very hard to get rid of once you're allowed to sink their hooks in. Okay, and so you need to avoid that. You know, low sex drive. Yeah, and women can have multiple orgasms before they burn out. That's differentiated from immature sex drive in the beginning. Okay. Though low is kind of immature, I guess. Yeah. Stupidity. Most people are stupid though. Men have misperceived and protected stupidity to quickly and cheaply produce physically powerful morons, and they do serious damage or neglect in long-term relationships. Okay. Um, soft-heartedness. Often giving a person what they feel like they want just emboldens the worst in them in this world of bonded workers where any created energy gets agitated to do service. So a man needs to be able to make the tough calls and set firm rules down, also enforcing them consistently. Do you understand? And stuff. Like I said before, relationships are an administration, not a charity. Okay? And you are a man. Do you understand? Um, they fall in love with trash. Yeah, most men cannot tell trash from a woman that does wonderful things for him for more than just money. You understand? Stop picking the trash and stuff. This one or two chicks that will do that, you know, um, will not only encourage you to be a better person and stuff, but will just make you happy and give you peace and stuff. Pick from those. Okay. Cowardice. They are afraid to love like a man does. They are afraid to risk their physical safety, pride, etc., and to compete with other people to get a pick from the dating pool. Okay. Good women are very nice, but that doesn't mean they're really turned on by wimps. Okay. Laziness. You know, If you want the really good women and stuff, you got to work your butt off, achieve something, you know. Scarcity. Few men are good enough for women. Few women have a good enough inner personality to keep a relationship together instead of having a man do all the bonding. You understand? Um, Unfortunately, the reality of this is that there's just not enough of either. Forgetting stuff. No man is more reviled or disrespected than the man who forgets. Okay. The male brain filters out, forgets more experience than the female brain does and stuff. This is something we have to overcome at and stuff. You know, manhood itself is not enough. Okay. You're still also a person. All right. Bad parenting. A man who harms and neglects his children risks the stability of his family. If you're a father, expect to spend a lot of time being a father. Okay. You can lose that amazing woman and stuff if you're not, you know, um, if you're not really trying to be a good dad to your kids with her, you know? And by being a good dad, you create less work for her and stuff, which means she likes being around you more. How about that and stuff? Isn't that nice? It's win-win and stuff. You know, you just get time with the kids. She has less work to do and stuff um, that she doesn't want to do, and you can include her and stuff too. It's great. Okay. Not knowing how to love that woman. The right woman is worth learning about and claiming, but you only keep her when you know how to love her. Okay. And I did do a video on some of how to love a woman and stuff. It's not like some final authoritative thing, but it could get you started pretty well. Low social intelligence. Non-gonadic men are fucked in this case. Okay, they don't know when a sexual foreplay is starting. They don't know how to tell a joke. They don't know when to hug, kiss, etc., and they just end up paying for it over and over. Okay. Sissiness. Okay. Most men have a problem where their mind and body are not virilized enough. This is not desirable to women in general. Women only want a less gonadically driven man when he is already a winner and has won her. Men like this are more like comforters or partners. Okay. Submissiveness. Men who flows from a dominant, conquering, taking charge position. Man's drive is to conquer, it's just how his physiology and psyche are made up. When he cannot do this, he subconsciously tells a woman he's not much of a man, okay? That's the signal that she gets that goes through her mammalian, reptilian brain and stuff, simian brain, okay? Lack of understanding of how women really select men. For one night stands, yes, women glance more, we can get away with many things, but when it comes to a long term relationship, you know, women assess blah blah blah. Women look at everything about you and stuff eventually. Okay. During the one night stand or something, you know, maybe you meet her in the nightclub, whatever. So or you know, you I don't know, she was a customer at work, whatever. You know, then if she's gonna look at less, care less and stuff. Just given less time to think. It's just how it is. Um, but your persisting value over time is what keeps a woman eminently continuing desire to chase him and stuff. Okay, so you know, stay in shape, everything, keep reading and whatnot. You know, you, if you're still the guy she fell for and stuff, you're gonna keep her and stuff. But like, yeah, good women are not nearly as nymphomaniacal as other women are. Okay, good women have enough brains to regulate their emotions. They know who, why, etc. they are sexually attracted to, and the nymphos are more desirable to the men because once they're in heat, they make the prospects of sex realistic. Okay. Ignorance about good women. Most men don't know or care about good women, but those men are stuck unfairly, paying alimony, being cheated on, being made miserable, etc., because not only did they reward the wrong woman, but they did not think first to pick the woman that would do anything, make them fulfilled, happy, peaceful, etc. Most men have no sense of inner personality in women. They don't know what to look for, what it looks like. Most women want to be really sweet, family-oriented, and personable, though, so that's good news. That's good. You know. Lack of manners. Nothing betrays good intention like something said in the wrong way, laughing in someone's face too much, etc. Okay. Naivete. Because even with good women, there will be games to play, and she will sure as shit play her own. Okay? It's just how it is. Until you know her well enough, until you build that trust, you could expect some games. You know? And there might still be games after that. You know, a lot of women are just like that. They just are. And yeah, that's that kind of caps off why most men cannot get or keep a good woman. Okay?